Okay, deep in the American heartland, there's a ghost of a metropolis. We're talking about a city of thousands, built entirely from the earth, that just vanished centuries ago. This is the incredible story of one of North America's biggest archaeological mysteries, the lost city of Cahokia.
I want you to just try and picture this. A city hitting its peak way back in the 13th century, but not in Europe, not in Asia, right here in North America. A huge, sprawling city that was actually bigger, more populated than London was at the exact same time. It's a story that isn't written in stone, but literally in the dirt it was built from.
At its absolute height, we're talking about a population of nearly 20,000 people. Now, let that sink in. This wasn't just some big village. For its time, this was the largest city north of Mexico, period. A true urban powerhouse right in the middle of the continent.
And they picked the perfect spot for it, right in the super fertile floodplain, just across the Mississippi River from where you'd find St. Louis today. This prime real estate made it the beating heart of what we call the Mississippian culture, this huge network of communities all across the Midwest and Southeast that shared a way of life.
So how in the world did this incredible city just spring up from the ground? Let's dig into the foundations of this metropolis made of earth.
Around the year 1050, something changed, and it changed fast. Archaeologists actually call it the Big Bang. It's like almost overnight, all these scattered villages just came together and exploded into this massive planned city. So what caused it? Well, it was a powerful mix of new people, new ideas, and brand new farming techniques. A real powerhouse was born.
It really was a perfect storm of opportunity. That rich soil was perfect for growing maize, corn, which was the super crop that fueled their whole society. At the same time, Cahokia became this massive crossroads for trade. You had copper coming down from the Great Lakes and beautiful seashells traveling all the way up from the Gulf Coast. All this wealth and stability basically acted like a giant magnet, pulling people in from all over and just fueling that explosive growth.
Now, to build their city, the Cahokians did something that sounds almost impossible. They moved an estimated 55 million cubic feet of earth. Think about that for a second. There were no work animals, no wheelbarrows. This was all done by thousands of people working together, carrying basket after basket of soil on their backs.
And the ultimate symbol of all that work is Monk's Mound. This thing is the absolute centerpiece of the city, a giant terraced pyramid that you can still see today. We're talking 10 stories high, with a base that's actually bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. And on top of it all, there was this huge building, probably a palace for the city's leader, looking out over everything. Just incredible.
But here's the thing. Cahokia's genius wasn't just about building big. It was about building with a purpose. This wasn't just a random collection of mounds. Oh no. This was a carefully planned city designed to reflect their power, their society, and a really deep connection to the cosmos.
The whole layout of the city was a masterpiece. It was like a symbolic map of their entire universe. You had 4 huge plazas spreading out from Monk's Mound, all lined up with the cardinal directions. The biggest one, the Grand Plaza, was the city's heart. You can just imagine these huge public ceremonies and this high-stakes game called Chunky being played right there. And get this, just west of Monk's Mound, they built what we call Woodhenge. Yep, a series of huge timber circles. And this wasn't just some monument, it was a seriously sophisticated solar calendar. The posts lined up perfectly with the sunrise on the solstices and equinoxes. It shows they had an amazing understanding of the stars and the seasons.
This careful design carried over into their society too. Right at the core, protected by this massive 2-mile-long wall, you had the ruling class, the elites. Just outside of that, you had the craft specialists, the artisans making all the pottery and tools. And then farther out, you had the thousands of farmers, whose cornfields were the lifeblood of the whole city. It was a society with very clear layers.
But nothing reveals the two sides of Cahokia, its incredible glory and its shocking brutality, quite like Mound 72. Inside, archaeologists found a leader buried on this amazing cape made of 20,000 shell beads, all arranged in the shape of a falcon. But they also found something horrifying. Nearby was a pit with the bodies of more than 50 young women, all apparently sacrificed at the same time. In another, they found 4 men who were buried without their hands or heads. It's just a chilling look into their beliefs about power and sacrifice.
So you have this massive, powerful, incredibly sophisticated city that reaches its absolute peak, and then it all just falls apart.
How does a city of this size simply vanish?
By the year 1350, Cahokia was a ghost town. The bustling plazas were totally silent. The huge mounds were slowly being taken over by nature. The question that has haunted archaeologists for generations is, why? What in the world happened here?
Well, there's no single smoking gun, but there are a few leading theories. Maybe it was an environmental collapse. Did they cut down all the trees, hunt all the animals, and then get hit by major floods? Or was it political? Maybe there was internal unrest, even warfare, that tore the city apart. Or what about disease? There's evidence that relying too much on corn without preparing it properly led to widespread health problems. The truth is, it was probably a combination of all of these things, a perfect storm of pressures that finally brought this great city to its knees.
So even though the city itself was abandoned, its story didn't just end there. Today, you can still find these powerful, powerful echoes of this lost world.
I mean, the contrast is pretty staggering. What was once the bustling capital of a whole civilization is now this quiet, peaceful landscape of green, grassy mounds. It's a really powerful and humbling reminder of how even the greatest societies can rise and then fall, leaving just whispers behind.
Today, Cahokia Mounds is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it's protected for all of us to learn from. But it's so important to remember that it's not just a historical site. It is a sacred place for many descendant Native American communities, like the Osage Nation, who still see it as a vital connection to their ancestors.
You know, the story of Cahokia really reminds us that great cities can rise and fall in the most unexpected places, leaving behind these incredible mysteries that totally challenge what we think we know about history. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other lost worlds, what other forgotten stories are still buried right under our feet, just waiting to be discovered?